Imagine a bird trapped in a cage, not by the bars themselves, but by the illusion there's no way out. If it moves left, the bars are there. If it moves right, the same. Forward, backwards, trapped. And yet there is a door. What if the bird was told, if you stay in the cage, you'll never be free. But if you leave, you'll betray the one who fed you. And now we're speaking the language of the mind. A language older than words, deeper than logic. A language you already know, even if you didn't know you know. And as you listen, you may begin to wonder. Have you ever been in such a situation? A place where choosing either path leads to loss, to guilt, to impossibility. And the more you think about it, the more you might notice how often people, they live in these binds without even knowing. The structure of the trap. The double bind. It isn't just two opposing forces, it's a system. You see, a choice that negates itself, creating a loop. If you stay, you lose yourself. If you leave, you lose them. And deeper still, beneath the surface, a hidden belief holds it all together. If I choose myself, I'm selfish. If I choose them, I'm weak. If I leave, I abandon. If I stay, I'm trapped. And isn't it fascinating how the mind can trap itself so perfectly? Like a magician who hypnotizes themselves and forgets the trick. But what happens when you begin to see the structure? What happens when you step outside the loop? The key to escape is the meta position. Now take a moment and imagine, floating above the situation, looking down on it, as though it were a story, a play, a movie on a screen. From this place, something changes. Notice how the emotions, they lose their grip when you're no longer inside them. And now, instead of just reacting, you can observe. You see, the moment you recognize the pattern, you're no longer trapped inside it. And perhaps now, you can begin to wonder, what happens when you stop choosing between X and Y, and instead, you step outside of the frame entirely? The double bind, reversed, is the healing shift. Think of Milton Erickson, the master of paradox. Instead of resolving a double bind, he'd create a new one. He might say, you can change now or you can change later, but either way, you'll change. You can release the past by holding on to the lessons, or you can hold on to the past and let those lessons go. But either way, the past will no longer control you. And something inside shifts, doesn't it? The mind begins to realize it was never trapped at all. But what if, instead of trying to solve the double bind, you simply step outside of it? And if you were to do that now, if you were to choose a third path, what might it look like? You could integrate the new understanding. Now take a deep breath and notice how your mind has already begun rearranging things in a new way. A way a puzzle clicks into place. The way a lock turns when you find the right key. And I wonder, what will change first? Will you notice how the old conflicts lose their change? Will you find yourself speaking differently, moving differently, making choices from freedom instead of fear? Because the thing about escape is, once you realise the door was open all along, you were never fully trapped. Because somewhere in your mind, something's shifting. You might not have noticed it yet, but maybe you have. A sensation, a realisation, a quiet knowing that things are already changing. Because isn't it interesting? That feeling, that experience, when you thought you'd no choice. When every road led to a dead end. And every move pulled you deeper into the trap. What if it was never real? And now, right now, you begin to notice something else. A pattern, a code, a key. The unseen chains of the mind. Imagine a hallway with two doors. One labelled freedom, the other labelled love. You reach for one, but just as your hand touches the handle, a voice whispers, if you take freedom, you'll lose love. If you take love, you'll lose freedom. And suddenly the walls close in, don't they? The hallway shrinks. The space between the doors vanishes, and now it's not just two choices, it's a trap. But what if, just beyond your vision, there was a third door? What if the moment you stopped playing the game, you stepped into a new reality entirely? Because isn't it true that when you stop choosing between two illusions, you wake up? How the mind locks itself in place. A double bind, it isn't just words. It's a neural knot, a loop, a feedback system in the brain. One part of you says, move forward. Another part says, stay where you are. A third part whispers, whatever you do, don't question it. And the more you try to solve it, the tighter it becomes. But what happens when you step back? Because now, You're noticing something. Noticing how all these loops, all these contradictions, all these mental traps, they've one thing in common. They need your participation. The moment you stop engaging, something cracks. And through the crack, something new begins to shine. Step outside yourself for a moment. Imagine watching this all happening from above. Imagine seeing the loops, the patterns, the conflicts, all from a higher space. From here, everything changes, because from this place, you're no longer inside it. At the moment you see the trap, you're no longer trapped. It's like stepping out of a dream, like waking up from a spell, like realizing the walls, they were never real. And isn't it strange how quickly things shift when you stop believing in the illusion? The escape you never knew was there. Because what if the illusion was never inside the problem? What if the only way to win was to stop playing the game? Not X, not Y, but something new entirely. A space beyond the conflict, a freedom beyond the choices, a realization that you were never actually trapped. And now the unconscious mind is processing all of this at a deep, profound level. I wonder what'll change first. The feeling in your body, the thoughts in your mind, the way you move, act and respond without even thinking about it. Because something has already changed, hasn't it? Something has already unlocked. And from here, from this place of freedom, the past no longer matters. The double bind dissolves and you're free.